Finn, whose nude high heels are those by the entrance? I stood at the living room door, holding my waist. Suddenly, the little one in my belly kicked me, sending a sharp, dull pain through my body. My 8-month pregnant belly felt like a heavy ball, making every step an immense effort. Having just climbed 3 flights of stairs, beads of sweat dotted my forehead. Finn was sitting on the sofa scrolling through his phone. Without looking up, he replied in a perfunctory tone, as if brushing off a stranger, "Just a friend's, left here temporarily. Don't make a fuss." His fingers slid quickly across the screen, and there was even a smile on his lips that I had never seen before. I tightened my grip on the shopping bag in my hand, which contained the blueberry muffins he had said he wanted last night. He hadn't come home until 3 in the morning, reeking of an unfamiliar citrus perfume. I had lied to myself that it was from a work dinner, but the small scratch on the heel of the shoes clearly showed they were worn frequently. What kind of friend leaves their shoes at our house? I took 2 steps forward. The warm living room light fell on his face, and I noticed there were no dark circles under his eyes from staying up late. Instead, he looked radiant. Or could it be that they're not a friend at all, but someone you've been hiding? I gritted my teeth and finally asked the question I'd been holding back. Finn finally put down his phone, frowned at me, his eyes filled with impatience. "Sarah, why have you become so suspicious since getting pregnant?" I said, "They're friends. Can you stop bothering me?" He stood up and walked toward the bedroom. As he passed by me, I clearly saw a faint lipstick stain on the inside of his shirt collar, not the bean paste shade I usually wore, but a more bold, bright red. "It's Kia's, isn't it?" The words tumbled out of my mouth, my voice trembling. I had seen that name on his phone last week. He had told me she was a new colleague, but the messages like "baby" and "miss you" were far from what colleagues would say. I had been too scared to ask, afraid of piercing that thin layer of pretense, afraid that the home I had invested everything in would collapse in an instant. Finn's footsteps froze abruptly. He turned to look at me, his eyes cold and unapologetic. "Since you already know, I won't hide it anymore." He pulled a cigarette out of his pocket, then put it back as if remembering something. "Kia's pregnant with my child, 1 month earlier than you. And it's a boy." The words, "a boy," cut through my heart like an ice-cold knife. I was having a girl, and he knew it. Ever since we found out 3 months ago, he hadn't touched my belly voluntarily. I had thought he was just patriarchal, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine he had long since found a replacement. "So what am I to you?" I clutched my belly, tears streaming down uncontrollably. "Did you marry me just because my parents would invest in your company? Now that the company is stable, I'm useless to you, isn't that right?" "What else?" Finn scoffed, his eyes full of contempt. "Do you think I really enjoy looking at your bloated figure in the 3rd trimester every day? Kia is much more sensible than you, she never acts as paranoid as you do." "Sensible? Sensible enough to help you lie to me, to help you scheme against my parents' money?" I trembled with anger, my voice shaking. "Don't put it so harshly," Finn said without a hint of guilt. "If you hadn't chased me so relentlessly back then, I would never have married you. Sarah, you should know, I never loved you. If you hadn't gotten pregnant, I would have ended this a long time ago." He took a step closer, closing in on me. "Now that Kia's pregnant too, and with a son, you'd better be sensible and file for divorce voluntarily. I'll even give you a settlement." "A settlement?" I laughed, tears flowing even harder. "Finn Hopper, are you even human? I've been carrying your child for 8 months, throwing up day and night, unable to sleep at night, and this is how you treat me?" I raised my hand to slap him, but he grabbed my wrist tightly. His grip was so strong it made my bones ache. "Slap me? Have you looked at yourself lately? What right do you have to hit me?" Finn's eyes turned sinister. "If it weren't for the child in your belly, I would have kicked you out a long time ago." Now that Kia's having your precious son, my daughter and I are just dead weight, aren't we? I stared at him, asking each word slowly and sharply. Don't push your luck. Finn's eyes turned fierce. I warn you, don't force me to lay a hand on you. He's suddenly ditching my hand. I lost my balance, stumbled backward, and my back hit the balcony glass door with a loud thud. The dull pain in my belly intensified instantly. I curled up in agony, cold sweat streaming down my cheeks. Are you okay? Finn frowned, his tone lacking any concern. Instead, it was filled with disgust. Quit faking it. That act doesn't work on me. He turned to leave, but I struggled to grab the hem of his shirt, my voice hoarse. What about our child? Are you just going to abandon her too? A little girl, what's there to care about? Finn's words stabbed at my heart like needles. Kia's having a son, the root of the Hopper family. That's who I care about. Her child is the family root, but mine isn't your flesh and blood too? I almost shouted, my grip on his shirt tightening. Finn tried to shake me off impatiently, but I clung on for dear life. In the scuffle, he suddenly pushed me backward. I lost my balance completely and fell down the balcony steps. There was a dull thud as my back hit the ground first, followed by a searing pain in my belly, as if countless knives were twisting inside me. I could feel warm liquid seeping between my legs, and my vision began to blur. Through the haze, I saw Finn standing on the steps, his face expressionless. He even pulled out his phone, seemingly texting someone. Hell, help. I opened my mouth, my voice barely a whisper. The little one in my belly seemed to sense the danger. She stopped kicking and fell unnervingly still. I was terrified, afraid that both of us would die, afraid that I would pass away without knowing why. I don't know how long it took, but I heard the wail of an ambulance and the exclamations of neighbors. Someone lifted me onto a stretcher. The harsh lights made me squint, and I faintly heard a doctor say, the pregnant woman is hemorrhaging heavily, her condition is critical. I tried to grab onto something, but I couldn't hold on to anything. Finally, I lost consciousness completely. When I woke up again, I was lying in a hospital bed, my entire body aching. The dull pain in my belly was gone, replaced by an empty numbness. I sat up suddenly and touched my belly, it was flat, and my heart raced with panic. My baby, where's my baby? I grabbed the hand of a nearby nurse, asking frantically. The nurse sighed, her voice heavy, Ma'am, please calm down. When you were brought in, you were hemorrhaging severely. We did everything we could, but we couldn't save the baby. Couldn't save her. I repeated those 3 words, my mind going blank. 8 months, I had cherished and protected this baby for 8 months, and now she was gone. Tears streamed down silently, and it felt like a piece of my heart had been torn out, leaving me gasping in pain. Just then, Finn walked into the ward, followed by a woman. The woman was wearing a red dress, her belly slightly protruding. She was the owner of those high heels I had seen earlier, Kia. Kia had her arm linked through Finn's, a triumphant smile on her face, and her eyes were filled with provocation as she looked at me. Sarah, you're awake? Finn's tone was casual, as if nothing had happened between us. The doctor said you're fine, you just need to rest. My baby is gone, and all you care about is whether I'm fine? I stared at him, my eyes filled with hatred. You pushed me down the stairs. You killed our baby. Don't spout nonsense, Finn's face darkened. You fell accidentally, it has nothing to do with me. I already paid your medical bills. Stop pestering me. Kia patted Finn's arm gently, giggling coquettishly, Darling, don't lower yourself to her level. She's just jealous that I'm having your son. She walked up to the bed, looking down at me condescendingly. Sarah, look at yourself, what do you have besides your family's money? Finn loves me. If it weren't for your parents, he would never have married you. Now that your baby is gone, what makes you think you have any right to stay with him? Any right? I scoffed, sitting up straight despite the pain in my wounds. You think he loves you? He loves the sun in your belly, the novelty you bring. One day when he doesn't need you anymore, you'll end up just like me. Liar. Kia's face turned pale instantly. She took a step forward and pointed at me. Finn is sincere to me. He's already told me, once he gets rid of you, he'll marry me in style. Is that so? Then ask him if he didn't say the exact same thing to me when he was chasing me. I looked at Finn, my eyes full of sarcasm. My parents? A thought suddenly hit me. You've been planning to take over my parents' company, haven't you? You approached me as part of a scam from the very beginning, didn't you? Finn scoffed. I guess you could say that. Your parents' company did help me a lot, but I don't need them anymore. Sarah, let's get a divorce. I'll give you a portion of the assets, that's more than generous. More than generous? I repeated those words, my eyes filled with hatred. You pushed me down the stairs, killed my baby, and now you call this more than generous? Finn Hopper, how can you be so shameless? Shameless? Finn's face darkened. If you hadn't clung on and refused to let go, things wouldn't have turned out like this. You brought this on yourself. Brought this on myself? So I should have just watched you and this woman scheme against me, scheme against my family's everything, and then leave quietly? I trembled with anger. More than generous? I laughed hysterically, the movement pulling at my wounds and making me wince in pain. Finn Hopper, you treated me like a backup plan, killed my baby, and now you have the nerve to call this more than generous? Dream on. Kia's face darkened, and she raised her hand to slap me, but Finn stopped her. Quit making a scene here, Finn checked his watch. We have to go, we have a prenatal checkup. He looked at me, his eyes cold as ice. I suggest you be sensible and sign the divorce papers voluntarily. Otherwise, I won't mind taking down your parents' company too. They turned to leave. As Kia walked past the bed, she deliberately stepped on the foot of the bed, making a harsh, scraping sound. I was left alone in the ward, curled up on the bed, crying like a child. I thought back to when we first met, how kind he had been to me, picking me up from work every day, making me breakfast, telling me he would love me forever, that he would give me and our child a happy home. It turned out all those sweet words were lies. That night, when the nurse brought me my medicine, she told me quietly that after I was taken to the hospital, Finn hadn't come with me. Instead, he had been on the phone with Kia, his tone intimate. The nurse added that she had heard Finn tell Kia in the hallway that he had long wanted to get rid of me, and that he would have done it sooner if I hadn't gotten pregnant. I reached for my phone, wanting to call my parents, but it was gone. I asked the nurse, and she said Finn had taken it. I knew why, he was afraid I would alert my parents. But he had forgotten, I had a private bank account that my parents had set up for me, with enough money to support me for a while. The next day, I asked the nurse to contact my lawyer friend. The lawyer arrived soon after, and I told him everything, how Finn had pushed me down the stairs, how he had tricked me into marriage for money. The lawyer said that if I could find evidence, we could sue him for intentional harm and fraud, and make him pay for what he had done. I asked the lawyer to get my phone back. When I opened it, I saw the text messages between Finn and Kia. They had been together long before. Finn had married me solely for my parents' resources. He had even told Kia that once the company was stable, he would find a way to make me miscarry accidentally, then divorce me and marry her. In the messages, they had even discussed how to transfer my parents' invested assets and leave me penniless. Looking at those harsh words, I trembled all over. The love and happiness I had believed in turned out to be an elaborately planned scam. I had not only lost my baby but had almost lost my life too. I couldn't let this go, I had to make them pay for their actions. That afternoon, my parents arrived at the hospital. When they saw me, my mother burst into tears. I told them everything in detail, Finn's scam, how he had pushed me down the stairs. My father was so angry he trembled. He immediately called the company, ordering them to freeze all investments in Finn's company and prepare to sue him. When Finn heard the news, he rushed to the hospital. He dropped to his knees beside my bed, completely abandoning his earlier coldness, and begged for my forgiveness through tears. Sarah, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have lied to you, shouldn't have hurt you and the baby. Please give me another chance, I'll make it up to you, I promise. Make it up to me? I looked at him, my eyes empty of any emotion. How can you make it up to me? Can you bring my baby back? Can you erase the pain I've endured? Finn, you're delusional. Kia arrived too. When she saw Finn on his knees, she flew into a rage. She stepped forward and tried to pull him up. Finn, don't beg her. She doesn't deserve it. Our baby is still here, we're the family. Family? I scoffed. Now you remember we're a family? When you two were scheming against me together, did you ever think about family? Shut up. Finn suddenly pushed Kia away. This is all your fault. I told you to be patient, to let me handle things, but you kept pushing me. Now look what's happened, the investments are frozen, the company is going bankrupt, all because of you. My fault? Kia stumbled backward, looking at Finn in disbelief. You're the one who couldn't hold on to the investments. Now you're blaming me? Finn, I'm so disappointed in you. Disappointed? I'm the one who's disappointed. Finn shouted. I thought you could help me keep things together, but all you do is cause trouble. They started arguing fiercely, completely ignoring me, the outsider in the ward. Watching them, I felt a bitter irony. The vows of eternal love we had once shared had turned into bitter enmity, it was all just a game of profit. I waved my hand, telling the lawyer to drag Finn out. My lawyer will send you the divorce papers. As for what you owe me, I'll make you pay it back, 1 penny at a time. As Finn was dragged out, he kept calling my name, his voice filled with remorse. But I knew he wasn't sorry for hurting me, he was sorry for losing my parents' support, for losing the wealth that had been within his grasp. In the days that followed, I focused on recovering in the hospital. My parents came to see me every day, bringing me my favorite foods, comforting me, encouraging me. The pain of losing my baby was still there, but I knew I couldn't wallow in sorrow forever. I had to live well, for myself, and for my parents. The lawyer sent word that without my parents' investments and due to previous irregular operations, Finn's company was on the verge of bankruptcy. Kia, seeing that Finn had no money left, had broken up with him and sued him for child support. Finn was drowning in troubles, hounded by creditors every day, a far cry from his former confident self. I looked at the photos the lawyer sent me. Finn was wearing tattered clothes, his hair messy, his eyes empty, completely devoid of his former charm. I felt no sympathy. He deserved every bit of it. The day I was discharged, the sun was shining brightly, warming my body. My parents helped me up, and we walked slowly out of the hospital. Looking at the bustling world outside, I took a deep breath. Although this experience had left me scarred, it had also opened my eyes to the true nature of people and made me grow. I knew the road ahead would be long, and I might face many more difficulties, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I would work hard to adjust my mindset, live well, and maybe one day in the not-too-distant future, I would find happiness again. As for Finn and Kia, they would eventually pay a heavy price for their greed and selfishness. Standing at the hospital gate, I turned back for one last look at the place where I had lost my baby and finally woken up. Goodbye, my sweet baby. Goodbye, that painful past. From today on, I would live for myself, and create a new life.